To all the geeks and nerds out there, welcome to this tutorial video about how to build my looting witch farm. Now this is a witch farm that I built in my legacy series, and I've had quite a few people asking for a block tutorial, so that's what we're going to do today. Since it's the weekend of Halloween, it seems quite fitting to put these witches through their paces. So if you want to learn how to build this thing, then stick around. So here it is. Here is my looting witch farm that I built on the legacy SMP server. As you can see here, we have 3 spawning platforms and 3 flying machines that come across and sweep the witches into this little trench down here. They get pushed along by some water into this bubble column, and then they go along this little corridor where they take a little bit of damage from these magma blocks. That's to make sure that they don't despawn. They then go up this very long tube, this bubble column, all the way up to the top, and up here we've got our player that is obviously loading the farm and also ready with a looting sword to kill these witches. So let me just come up here, and as you can see, there I am waiting to greet these witches. So if I now go over here and I can start swiping away at these witches and getting their drops. Now because I've got looting on my sword, that means we get some extra drops, and that is super cool. So underneath we have a whole bunch of hoppers that then go into a sorting system, and here are all of the drops collected for you, ready for use later on in your world. In addition to that, we also have a beacon over here. This is optional, but if you want to run this farm AFK for a period of time using an auto clicker to do the swiping for you, then you're going to need to make sure you don't starve to death. And so we have a beacon here which gives us regeneration and also some strength so we can kill the witches a bit quicker. But here we go, here we are with our player, and it's a lot of fun just to swipe away these witches, get our own back, especially at Halloween when they are extra spooky. Now in terms of the farm itself, you can see above it we have this roof that is to make sure that the farm is dark enough so the witches can spawn. And you can also see here we haven't really had to do too much spawn proofing. So a lot of the time with these kind of mob farms, a lot of the time is spent preparing the area. But here you can see we've got a few torches down here just to make sure that these areas are spawn proof. But because we've built it with a witch hut here which is in the middle of a load of water, that means that the spawn proofing is pretty minimal. So just a few torches around the local area, and that should be good. Now if you want to build this thing, we want to do a block tutorial, so stick around for that because that's coming up next. Now in terms of the rates, you are looking at roughly 6,750 items per hour, which is pretty good going for a single witch hut. So if you want to get a good amount of items, then this could be the farm for you. But before we can build this thing, we need to have a material list, and here it is. So a lot of these items are interchangeable with other types. So for example, I'm using quartz slabs here just for the flex, but you can use any slab here. Similarly with the glass, any kind of glass will do. But as you look through this list, you can see you can probably swap some of these items out. For example, the concrete there, that's just any kind of solid block. We've got the glazed terracotta. That's important because we will need to use blocks here that the flying machines won't stick to, so the slime blocks won't stick to. So you can change it out for another type if you like. Now what I'll do is I'll scroll this down, and if you want to pause the video to get the exact numbers, you can do that. I'll also put this list in the description below. So let me just scroll down here to get the observer at the top. So that's the next page. That's page 2 out of 3. And if I scroll down again and get the magma block at the top, that is the last page. So that's all the things you need, and that's including the beacon at the top, which is optional. Depends if you want to do an AFK session with an auto clicker. Anyway, let's get into the build and yeah, get this thing built up. So the first thing you need to do is to find yourself a witch hut. So come on over to a swamp biome, and you're looking for a witch hut which looks like this. Now an ideal witch hut is something like this where there's a lot of water around it, so that will reduce the amount of spawn proofing you need to do. Now with this one we've got some land over here and of course over there, as we've already seen, so there will be some spawn proofing we need to do for that. But if you can find a witch hut in the center of a whole bunch of water, that will make your life a whole lot easier. So it's worth spending a bit of time to find the perfect witch hut. Now once you find one, inside there will be a couple of people. There will be a witch, get rid of her, and also a cat, which you could do with, what you like. Now that the witch hut is cleared out, we now need to build our first spawning platform. Now to do that, come around to the back of the witch hut and place one of your glazed terracotta on the top block, just like that, so it marries up on both sides, just like that. Now now we're going to build a platform that is 9 that way and 7 that way. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you see that should line up with this porch that comes out here. That's as far out as you should go. That should be 9 blocks, and then 7 blocks this way. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that should line up with the edge of the roof, just like that. So fill all of this in all the way across here and all the way along here, and fill all of that in with your glazed terracotta. Then what you can do is you can get rid of the whole of the witch hut. You don't need it anymore. And then what we can do is you can then build your 2 extra layers on top of that. So leave 2 blocks. So 1, 2, and then place another block here. So you should have a 2 gap here. That's where your next platform is going to be, and then leave another 2 gap, and then put one more block here. Take those out, and that's where your third platform is going to be. So there's your 3 platforms. So for these 2 here, fill all those out so they're the same shape as this one. Get rid of the witch hut, and then we're ready to continue. Your witch farm should now look something like this, with 3 layers like this, with a gap of 2 blocks in between each of these layers. Now what we need to do is get your leaves, and now we're going to make a 1 wide wall all the way around all 3 layers. So come off, so you're diagonally along here, and then place leaves all the way along here, so you've got a 1 high wall all the way around. But do that just on 3 sides. So do it on the two long sides here, and then 1 along the back over there, and then do that for all 3 layers. Next, come around to the front where we've left this open. Now this is where the witches are going to get pushed off, and they're going to fall down here into on this side. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add some space for the little trench here. So add another leaf block next to this bottom one, and then create a pillar all the way up here to match it up with this side here, these leaves. Then add 2 more leaves on top of that. Then do the same on the other side, so 1 extra one here, and then pillar up all the way till you get to this one, then 2 more on top of that. Then what we're going to do, we're going to then mirror all of the leaf blocks we've got underneath at this level. So you should have a 1 wide gap between these leaves and the ones below. So just fill all of that into there. Then what you can do is on the top level here, we're going to fill in all of this with leaves. Now what you can do, you can leave one gap here. So where we've got these leaves here, you don't have to fill this level in here, but all of these leaves here, fill all of this in here. Now the reason for this is that we want to stop other mobs from spawning, because what can happen here is when the arm of the fly machine comes across, that will leave a gap above it, and you can have spiders spawning on top of the fly machine as it goes. So what we're going to do here is we're just adding some blocks here to stop that happening. So this can be any block that slime blocks won't stick to, but as we've got a lot of leaves, then yeah, we're just going to use them here. So fill all of this in, and yeah, do all of that. We'll come back to that shortly. Then on the back corner on this side, then fill these corners in just with a couple of leaves just like this. So you should have a column of leaves just like that. Next, we're going to place down the last few leaf blocks. So what we need to do now is we need to come around to the right hand side over here, and this is the opposite side to the corner we did over there. So this corner on this side is open, but this corner over here should have the leaf blocks going across. So come to this side on the right, and now on the top level, so this is our top spawning layer here, come around to this side next to this level of leaf blocks, which is just 1 block above that level, and then place 2 extra leaf blocks along all of this side, so 2 all the way along. Now the reason we're doing this is because this is the side that the fly machines are going to come on, and what we want to have here, we don't want to have mobs spawning on the fly machines as they move across. Now these leaf blocks will stop that. So once you've done this level here, come down to the one below it and do the same thing. So 2 extra blocks here, and do this all the way along for every leaf block you've got here. So fill all of this in right here all the way along, so 2 extra blocks, and once you've done it, it should look something like this. So it sticks out 2 blocks here, 2 here, and it's just on those 2 levels, so just above the top level here that spawns, and the second level here. You don't need to do it anywhere else. That's the only ones you need to do. Next up, come around to the back of the farm, so that's the opposite side to where we've left it open, so over to this side here. Now we get our slime blocks, and we're going to place 9 along this bottom row of leaves right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, just like that. And then do the same on the next level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And again, the same on this top level here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then get yourself some leaves, and these 2 gaps here, fill these in with leaves as well. That is again to stop any mobs from spawning. So do that up to there, and the same on this side over here, just like that. So then we should have one gap over here. That's because we're going to put some other things there in a second, but that's the last thing to do with the leaves. Next up, come around to the front of the farm where we've left it open, and then come down to the second level, the second spawning layer, and we should have these leaf blocks that are poking out to outside. So now come around to the front of this, place a temporary block underneath the corner leaf block, just like that. Then get yourself your observers, place 1 facing the temporary block, then another one facing that observer. Then get a block of obsidian, place it next, a piece of redstone dust on top of that. Then get yourself a repeater next to there, put that on the maximum setting so you can see it's like that. Then get yourself a normal piston, place it on top of the observer facing that way. And now when we remove our temporary block, it should delete that leaf block, so that's correct. That is all in the right place. Then you can put a temporary block on top of this piston. Now these things we're building here, these are the return systems for the fly machines. So we built the bottom one, we need to build 2 more for the other fly machines. So now you can get yourself your next observer, place it on top of this temporary block, then another observer here, then a obsidian block, then Redstone Dust, then again another repeater on maximum settings, then get yourself your next piston, place it on top of that observer just like that, so we can get rid of that temporary block. Then we can do the same thing again, place a temporary block on top of that, then get yourself an observer on top of that, another observer, your obsidian, redstone dust, repeater on maximum setting, and then get another piston facing this way, and then you can get rid of this. So you should have 3 of those, all identical, one on top of the other. Make sure your repeaters are all on maximum setting, and then you're good to go. After that, come around to the back where we've got our slime blocks and come to this edge, which lines up with these are return systems that we've already placed in. Come down to the bottom here and place a temporary block just in here, then place a piece of obsidian next to it, and then remove the temporary block. So the obsidian is diagonally above that of slime block right there. Then do that for all 3 layers. So a temporary block here, obsidian, get rid of temporary block, and again temporary block here, obsidian, get rid of the temporary block. So we should have your 3 slime blocks here on the edge with obsidian diagonally above them, just like that. Next up, we're going to finish off the fly machines. So come around to the back here, and we've got this slime block that sticks out here. So place another slime block next to it diagonally, same on the next level down, and then same on this level. Now you need to put a temporary block next to this one, and then put your slime block here, then get rid of your temporary block. Now make sure you've put your obsidian down on this side, and also the return stations here. Now we always do those first, just in case we accidentally set off the fly machines. These blocks here are there to stop it, so it doesn't go off forever. So once you've got your slime blocks down, get yourself some sticky pistons, and they need to go next to this slime block here in this one, and then next to this slime block here. So come around to this side and place it there. So you should have that kind of shape. So with the sticky piston face next to the slime block on the opposite sides, just like that, and then do that for all 3 levels. So this one right here is quite straightforward. We can target this slime block on this side. But to put the next one in over here, we can't get access to it. So temporarily remove this leaf block, which is next to the obsidian. Place your sticky piston, and then replace the leaf block. Same on the next level down. Take this out. Put your sticky piston here, and then replace the leaf block. Make sure you put your other sticky piston here. So you should have all 3 levels should have 2 sticky pistons, just like that. Then the last thing to do is to get some observers. So these observers need to go on top of the slime blocks, these 2 here, but face upwards. So easiest thing to do here is start at the bottom, and you can target the leaf block above it. So you can point upwards there and upwards here. So you should have that kind of shape. Make sure your arrow is pointing like that upwards. And then we get to do it on the next level above. Same here. And then same here. And then lastly, we don't have any leaf blocks above to target, but what you can do is we can add a temporary block on top of the piston, and then face your observer facing upwards on here. Then you can get rid of that that temporary block. Now we can have another temporary block on top of this one. So maybe place one like that, come underneath, and then place your observer facing upwards. Now when we remove this temporary block, this fly machine will go off, but this will be a good test. So we remove it, it flies across, it should hit this return station, which triggers it to come back again, and then it will stop against the obsidian we've already placed. Now come around to the back and we'll work on the triggering system for the fly machines. So come down to the bottom obsidian block and place 2 temporary blocks, then place another block. I'm using glass, but that could be anything. Then place redstone dust on top of that and get rid of your temporary blocks. Then get yourself some observers and hold down shift and press against the redstone dust, and then put another one there. So you've got 2 observers facing this redstone dust. You press shift because if you click on a redstone dust like that, it changes its shape. Then get more observers, and on this first one that's next to the dust, place a whole bunch of these facing downwards just like this until you're 1 block higher than the top obsidian block. Then come down to these obsidians, and for each one above it, place another observer facing here and also here. So you should have that kind of shape just like that. Then get yourself a normal piston and place this on top of the obsidian. So this has to go into here. So it might be a little bit tricky to get into position, but you have one here, and then one here. Once you've done that, your triggering system should look something like this. So now we can test this by just powering this redstone dust. So if we come over here and give this a power source, you should see all of the fly machines going across. They should reach their return stations and then all get triggered and then come back again and then come to rest. So if that happens, then everything is working. Next, we need to make these 2 observers here spawn proof because mobs could spawn on here. So put something on top of this that will stop mobs from spawning. I'm going to put some glass down, but you could use either glass or slabs or carpet, something like that. Don't use a torch because the light will then come into the farm and affect the rates. So any kind of block that blocks spawns can go on those 2 observers. Now we can work on the clock that's going to trigger our fly machine. So come around here to where we've got our redstone block, place a glass block on top of it, 1 on this side and then 2 on this side, just like that. So that is to stop mobs spawning on top of our clock. Then you can get yourself some sticky pistons. So come around to this side, place one sticky piston over here, and then leave a gap here, and then place another one at the end. So it should look something like that. Then we need to get a temporary block, place it underneath the redstone block like that, get a hopper, point it into your temporary block like that, get rid of it, and then point another one going back into there. So that gives us this kind of hoppers that point into each other. Then get yourself another block, come down to here, to here like that, and then same on the other side, one block here and then down like that. Then get yourself a comparator pointing out of the hoppers on either side, so it should look like that. Then get yourself two solid blocks, one on this side next to this comparator, one on this side next to this one. Then get some redstone dust and put that on each of the two solid blocks like that. Then come over to this hopper here and then place a stack of items into this hopper, and you'll see it start draining across. That will as well trigger the flying machines. That's all good. Then get yourself a lever, place it on this solid block right here, and if you want to turn it off, just flip it down like that, and that should turn the farm off. Now that our flying machine sweepers are all complete, we're now going to work on the area where we're going to collect the witches up and then send them to the AFK spot above. So what I've done here is I've just cleared out some water here to make it a bit easier to see on the video. That's not necessary, you can just build it up here, but I thought it'd just be a bit easier to see. So what you need to do now is you need to come underneath your farm here and place two blocks down here. I'm using glass just because I like to see inside the farm, but this could be any block. So come down 2 levels just like that, and then from here come out 1 block to here, and then place another wall all the way along here at this level, and then follow this all the way up to the very top of the farm, all the way up to the top of the leaf blocks, and then fill all of this in so you have a big glass wall on the front of the farm. Once the glass wall is in place, come down to the bottom here and then place another 3 leaf blocks down here, 1, 2 and 3, and that should bring you in line with the bottom here. Then you can place a temporary block here and then get yourself some glass next to it. So here we did a total of 6 glass blocks, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we should have one block left over here. Then come down 1 block and place a wall just like that, and then another one next to it, so 2 wall blocks, and then we need to have a soul sand next to this one up. So it should look something like this. So we've got the 2 copper walls right here, and then 2 air blocks, your soul sand here, and then the row of glass over here. Once this area is complete, we're going to have some water that flows from over here down to this way. So we need to box all of this in so no water can escape. So on top of the wall, put a temporary block and then a glass next to it, and then get rid of it, and then put one more here. So you've got these 2 blocks here that will hold any water here. Do the same on the back as well. So do that just like that, and then we've got to build up these walls all the way to the top. So this level build all the way to the very top, same as this, fill all this into here, and then come out 1 more block here, which is 1 block above the soul sand, and then these blocks should go all the way up to the very top. So follow these blocks, both of these, all the way up to the very top of the glass. At this stage, your glass wall should look something like this. So you should have your soul sand here that's in line with these leaf blocks here. This is going to be the tube that the witches come up. So that should look something like that. Then what you do is come into here, and then on the blocks that are in front of the soul sand right here, place 3 gates. So 1, 2 and 3. That should be underneath this leaf block here, and then open all of those gates. That's to hold back the water we're going to put above the soul sand shortly. Next, come around to the back of the soul sand, place a block here and a block on top of it, and get rid of that block. Now place blocks all the way up here until we're 2 away from the top of the farm. So that's here, a 2 block gap. That's so the witches can come out here because they're 2 blocks tall. Then come down here back to where the soul sand is, leave this block here, but then remove this one, and then place blocks around it. So we end up with 1 air block back here. So what's going to happen here is we're going to fill this with water sources. The water source that's here is then going to flow this way into this 1 air block, and so that will pull the witches into the bubble column so they don't get stuck over here. We can now add the water to the farm. So come in to this side of the trench and place 1 water source right here, so it flows this way. It should go down on top of the walls like that. Then come into this area where we've got the soul sand, and we're going to come to the very top right here and place a water source just at the top right here like that. Then let the water flow down. Then you can get yourself some kelp. This is probably the easiest way to do it, and then place kelp on top of the soul sand, and then come all the way up to the very top, and then you can get rid of the kelp. That will give you a bubble column, which will then shoot you back up. Now you don't have to use kelp. That's just an easy way to do it. You can obviously use water buckets, or you can use ice, but basically you need to have a water source on all of these blocks in this column all the way down to the soul sand. Next up, we can work on this corridor that's going to take the witches over to the final bubble column. So now place 3 blocks next to this glass block. So 1, 2, 3. Then place 4 magma blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then place another 5 blocks after that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then come around to the front and place a 2 high wall on both sides all the way along till you get to the end. Your farm should now look something like this. So now what we can do is we can come in here to where we've got our magma blocks. Now on the last magma block, on the wall above it, place a sign just like that, and then diagonally upwards and back place another sign just like that. Now we can come over to here with our bubble column, place another water source on top of it just like that. That should flow in and then come up to the end of where we've got our signs just like that. We're now going to add something over here, which is very similar to what we did over there with the walls and the soul sand. So come over here, place a temporary block next to this one, and then come down and place 2 walls next to each other like that. Then get yourself your soul sand and place it diagonally above the walls just there. Then get whatever block you're using for your walls and come along here and then place 2 next to the walls above it, and then build these up to the same level here. So you have a total of 6 blocks over here. Then do the same on the other side. So a temporary block here, remove it, and then build these walls up just like that. Let's come around to the back of the soul sand and place 2 gates here and open them up. Then get yourself your glass blocks and place 2 here, 2 here. And then we're going to place another one underneath here, and then come up to the same level here. Remove this block just here and then place some blocks around it again to leave 1 air block behind the soul sand just here. So when we add a source block here, it will flow this way, which will pull the witches into the bubble column. We can now build our long tube all the way up to the AFK spots, and this is going to be an extra 116 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, I'm not going to count the whole way, but 116 all the way up, and do that on all of these sides here. So we should have 4 walls, and then place a block on top of these gates here. So I've placed down 3 already, so this should be a total of 116. Once you've finished your large tube all the way to the top, you can place a water source right in the top here. That will flow all the way down to the bottom. Then we're going to do the same kelp trick we did before. So come in here, go all the way to the bottom, and then place the kelp on the soul sand, and then all the way up so we get a full column of water sources. With our kelp fully grown to the very top of the column, you can come all the way down again to the very bottom where we've got our soul sand. Come in here and you can just break the bottom of that kelp, and it will create a bubble column that will try and shoot you up. So try and get out of there. So that's all good there. Now the next thing to do is to get another bucket and place it on top of this sign in here, and then that will be enough to send the witches all the way along. Now you can test this. Just stand here in the water stream. You should get pushed in and then pulled in by the water source, and then all the way up to the very top. Now we can build up the killing area. So come out 2 blocks from the top here, and then come down a further 2. So you've got a total of 3 here, and then we can build up a 2 high wall here. So 1, 2, all the way along just like this. So build this 2 high wall all the way along till you get to the end here, and then place a roof on the top as well all the way along till you get to the end just like that. Now come down to the bottom block here and place 2 slabs just like this, any slab of your choice, and then place a hopper pointing downwards on this one, and then a hopper pointing into that hopper just underneath. So this is where we're going to kill the witches, and all their items are going to fall into these 2 hoppers just here. Then get yourself some more wall blocks and bring your wall all the way up to the top here. Extend the roof a bit, and the same on this side. On the this slab right here, build this wall all the way to the top, and then you can build a wall coming down here, leaving a gap just here for you to swing your sword and kill the witches. Next up, we actually need to come into here, so you can break a block here, come into this area, and then we need to place a sign over here. This is to stop the water, and we're going to place another water source on top of this one, just like that. So when the witches come up this bubble column, they'll be pushed over here and they'll fall down here into the killing area. So that's that bit done. Then you can replace the roof block just like that. Then come next to this hopper we've got here and place 11 composters next to it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then you can place a hopper pointing downwards underneath that, and then follow a whole bunch of hoppers pointed into this one. So holding down shift, you can place hoppers all the way along just like this until you get to this hopper and place one underneath it just like that. Next we need to build up our item sorters. So come underneath here and need to find the 4th hopper. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4th one, and place down 2 temporary blocks. Then place a solid block next to that, and then you can get rid of your 2 temporary blocks right here. Then we can put a comparator on top of this solid block just like that, and then get yourself some hoppers. Place 1 pointing into the comparator and then 1 pointing into the solid block. Then you can come out 2 more blocks under here, then place another block under here, and then come out diagonally down like that, and then another block under here like that. So that's the kind of shape you should have in terms of your solid blocks. Then place 3 redstone dust, 1, 2, and 3. Then get a repeater pointing this way, back that way. So that's on a normal setting, and then get a redstone torch and place that underneath this block right here. So that is how you do an item sorter. Now we need to do a total of 8 of these, so 7 more. What I recommend doing is maybe building the first one like this, and then you can build all of these together. So then place another 7 blocks here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then get your repeaters and place them along here, just like that. And kind of do this all the way along for all of these blocks, so you can make it much easier rather than building them one by one. Once you've got your item sorters in place, it should look something like this. Now you can come around to here and place another 2 hoppers coming straight down out of this one. This one is just for all the extra stuff we're not sorting for, like you might get some potions or whatever that comes out of this one. But all of these, you can add some items to sort them out. We'll do that a little bit later. So now what we can do now is get a temporary block and come down 6 blocks under here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then get yourself some double chests and place them next to here, just like this, and do this all the way up to the top. Make sure they're all double chests all the way along, all the way just like it's like this. If I can place them, then you can get rid of all of these temporary blocks here, then get your hoppers and place them running into these chests all the way up. Now do this for all of these hoppers all the way along, so you get a row of 8. You get 8 columns of double chests here, and they should all be 6 high. Once you've added your chests, your sorting system should look something like this, with all of those chests there, with hoppers pointing into all of them from the back, leading from the sorters above. Now you can come around to your sorters and add all of these items that I've got in my inventory. So you need 1 for each of these items. Now I've got two allocated for the sticks, because you get twice as many of those. But basically for each of these, you need to come into here, place whichever block or whichever item you want to sort for in the first slot, and then place 5 items of another type over here that won't be part of your farm. Best thing to do here is to get an item and rename it to something, so these won't get confused or break the system, and basically do this for each of these items all the way along for each of the items in your sorter. Once you've configured your item sorters, we're almost done up here. So what I've done, I've added a platform here next to the chests. So this is great for standing here and obviously accessing all of the items. Make sure this is spawn proof, so when we're AFKing up here, no mobs are going to spawn here and give us a nasty surprise. So I'll use glass for that. Obviously you can carpet this or make sure it's lit up, that kind of stuff. And the other thing I've added here is a ladder that goes all the way from here all the way to the top, up to this hopper right here. Now if you are going to AFK for a long time, then I recommend, as I said before, adding a beacon over here, and with your beacon, give yourself strength so you can kill the witches a bit easier, and also regeneration, so you won't starve to death. If you start using health because of starvation, the beacon will heal you. So once you've got that all in place, we can now just build the killing area. So we want to stand at this level, so place down a block on this last hopper here, and then this block here is the one you're going to stand on to swing at the witches. And now you just got to box yourself in so we don't get any nasty surprises from anything around us. So box all of this in here. Give yourself a roof. In fact, if you get yourself a solid block and place it above you, that will mean that phantoms won't spawn and give you a hard time. So that you need to have a 2-block gap here, and then just fill this in all the way along, just like this. We can get rid of those blocks, and then we should have a nice area here to walk into, so we can go up the ladder and then we can walk into here and kill the witches. If you use a solid block here, make sure you put something on top of it so nothing spawns on top of it anytime. When you're in here, you'll be too close to it, so it's probably not a big deal, but just in case. But yeah, this is where you stand to AFK and swing at the witches to kill them. We've just got 2 more jobs to do. We've got to add the roof over here to make sure the farm is dark enough, and then do a little bit of spawn proofing around. So to do the roof, you need to come down here and get yourself a bunch of slabs. Now what you need to do here is find the block here, which is the corner block, which is this one right here, and then come out 1 block away from it, just here. And this should be, we need to count out 15 blocks in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then do the same on this side as well. So we've got the corner block. This is the corner block of the spawning platform. Come 1 here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So do that on all 4 corners. So you should have these kind of pillars that come out all the way around the farm. Your roof should now look something like this. So if we just have a quite closer look at this before we continue, you can see here that this block here that's missing, this one is above the corner of each of the spawning platforms. Just here you can see that kind of lines up, and then in terms of the rest of it, you can kind of see how this kind of lines up with the other elements of the farm. If I just scoot around here to give you a visual of all of these corners like that. Now all of these slab lines are 15 blocks in length, so they should all line up on the outside. Now what you need to do is you need to just connect all of these. So all these ones that come out here, connect all of these along just like that. So do that on all 4 sides, and also now need to have a diagonal line that comes across here that should join up each of these blocks as well. At this stage, your roof should look like this. So the next thing we need to do is to fill in all of this with slab blocks. So that's one job you can do. And then also add an extra 2 blocks here just to make sure the witches stay in place. But basically fill in all of this area with your slabs. Make sure they're all on the bottom so nothing can spawn on top of them. When you get round to these items, you can see that they kind of stick out, but that's okay. Just add slabs all the way around, just like this. That's all cool. And then add some slabs on top to make sure that nothing can spawn on top of them. Do that all the way along here. When you get to this block here, make sure you add slabs around here so we don't let any kind of light in as the farm operates. But once you've done that and that's spawn proof, do the same thing on that piston over there and you should be good. And now with the roof in place, it should look something like this. Make sure that these items over here have got enough slabs on them so they're not spawnable. So all of these slabs here are double slabs. Yeah, so nothing can spawn on those, and those are bottom slabs on the top here. Same over here. This is all kind of encased in so we don't leak any light into the system as the pistons move. So that's all good. Now if we come down and have a look inside the farm, obviously it's all dark. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a night vision potion so we can actually see what's going on, and we should have witches spawning on all 3 platforms as we do have here, so that's all good. The other thing here is make sure that if you do clear away the water and add blocks here like I have with the sand, make sure you spawn proof these so you don't get mobs spawning on these blocks here or down in that area as well. Make sure that's all spawn proof. Don't use any light sources, don't use torches because that will leak into the farm and affect the rates. If you don't clear this out and you have water down here, make sure that these 2 walls don't get waterlogged because that will also affect this and will block the witches from coming across. And here is one actually, so she should just get pushed along here and into the water, and there she goes all the way up, all the way. So that is working, so that is great. So make sure you do all of that, and that is all good here. Next thing to do is to spawn proof the area. So depending on your terrain, you may have more or less spawn proofing to do. So yeah, as I said before, try and find a witch hut in the center of a bunch of water. I've got a bit of land here to do. Now what I've done here is I've gone to the AFK spot and I've used mini HUD. That's a mod that has a despawn sphere. So if I turn that on, you can see this is the sphere where mobs will spawn if I stand at the AFK spot up there. That's because mobs will spawn in a radius of 128 blocks from the player. So that's why we have a high AFK spot, to try and lift this sphere up as high as we can, which limits the amount of spawn proofing we need to do. So basically all of these blocks here that are inside the sphere, we need to place down a bunch of torches to make sure no mobs can spawn over here. That guarantees that the mobs can only spawn inside the farm, which will increase the rate and of course then increase your drops. So go around all of this and yeah, light up all the blocks you need to, or remove them or spawn proof them. You can cover them with water or slabs or whatever else you want to do to spawn proof the island. If you want to use mini HUD, there's a video on my channel about how to use it, so I'll link that in the description so you can get that installed and yeah, get this sphere up, and that will make your life a bit easier. I've now got around the area and placed down torches all the way in all of these blocks that are inside the sphere, just to make sure we don't get any mobs spawning outside here. So that's all good, do that all the way around. And because I've got a lot of water here and not many blocks, that didn't take too long at all. So yeah, as I said before, try and find a good location. And now it's time to yeah, give this farm a try and make sure it works. So over here we've got the on and off switch, as we said before. Now the important thing here with this farm, because this has flying machines, you need to make sure you turn this off before you leave the area, and that includes going through portals or flying away, or just leaving the game altogether. Make sure this is off before you leave the area, because if the flying machines are moving as you leave the area, as this area gets unloaded, it can break the flying machines and you have to rebuild them in the right configuration. So let's turn it on, and then the flying machines go across. That's all good. If there's any witches in there, they'll get pushed across. There might not be. No, okay, so let's go up to the AFK spot and hopefully we'll get some witches appearing. We're here in survival on the platform above, so all of our items here. I've added some item frames as well, so we know what items go into which silos. Now we can go up this ladder I've got here, and I've already got prepared a sword for us to use, which is this one right here. So if we grab that sword, we can see that this is the kind of things you want on your sword. The important thing here is looting. That's the most important thing. Also something else useful will be mending, so the sword will repair itself as you're swinging away. And of course the other things are also useful. Sharpness for killing the witches a bit quicker, that kind of thing. Now we can walk in here. The witches have appeared, and now we can just slice away at these witches. Now if you use an auto clicker, sometimes I use that, and I get it set to swing every 1 second. That's enough to do that and not break the glass behind. If you have this clicking too quickly, then it can break the glass if you're not careful. So yeah, just got to AFK here and wait for the witches to come up. Here is a whole bunch coming up right now. They should come across and then they fall down, and yeah, just chop them up and collect their goods. So there you have it. That is how you build my looting witch farm that I built on Legacy SMP. So I'll put a link in the description to the episode where I built that in survival for those that are interested. I'll also put a link to, well, take it into gravity damage. I'll also put a link in the description below to a world download for this world, so you can download it, and also the Lightmatica that I use for the material list. Now, if you want to learn how to use Lightmatica and what it is, I've also got a video on my channel of how to use that along with MiniHUD, which is also a very useful mod indeed for this kind of thing. So check out the description for those links, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then please hit the like button, and if you're new, then feel free to subscribe, and if you've got any comments or suggestions, then get in that comment section. Alright my geeks, until next time, I will see you later.